Hey, it's Lacey Broussard, and this is the Multi-Orgasmic Mama podcast. From sex and motherhood, birth and relationships, communication and intimacy building, and Taoism and Tantra, we explore topics such as self-care, self-pleasure, body image, jade eggs, the feminine cycles, creativity in business, and modern spirituality. The Multi-Orgasmic Mama is a place to come for true stories and transformational advice on how to be a mama and a multi-orgasmic woman too. Hey, Michaela, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me on here.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk with you.
So excited. I love your work.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so just tell us a little bit about your life. What do you do? Who do you serve?
Sure. Well, I'm a certified holistic health coach and a creator of 6 Weeks to Love Yourself to Happiness online course with my dear friend and business partner, Maia. And I'm also a self-development and lifestyle design junkie. So I love to have freedom, but yet create at the same time the life that I love to live. And I'm also a full-time mom of a 1-year-old little goddess, Mia. So she has completely transformed me and my whole life for the better. And so just having her, I feel most authentic, and that's really influenced my work in general.
Yeah, sweet. I
Yeah.
love that you call her a little goddess. That's
She
awesome.
is. She is. She's so delicious. She's sweet, but she knows it, but without being conceited. She's just she's just a light for everyone that meets her. And she's so strong for being like a little girl, and she just knows what she wants. And so it's so inspiring. And somehow through her, I channel things that I should be doing, so I get influenced by her perfectness almost, and her flow of life, and just trusting everything. Trusting the process with her has been amazing.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so cool. I love that
Yeah.
relationship you have with her. That's super awesome.
Yes. I've had since she was in my belly. So I used to meditate with her before I went to bed, and when I woke up, and I would do these heart to heart meditations, connecting with her heart. So I just always made sure that our connection was strong, and so even now I can leave and she'll be like, bye, but we're always connected, and I'm always in touch with her in some sort of way, so she's attached, but not really at the same time, which is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you do prenatal yoga or something?
I studied hypnobirthing. I'm like a self-study sort of person, and then if I feel the need to become an expert at it, I'll just take a course or something. But I've studied some hypnobirthing, and I was just listening to it nonstop, especially the last few months of my pregnancy. And I was even listening to it with these headphones, on my delivery bed, and it was so relaxing, and it was all about trusting the process. And I think I just, again, how I said that I'm trusting the process, I embedded all of these thoughts in myself and in her. And so we're going from that place forward, in life, in our life in general. So hypnobirthing, I'm also a yoga teacher. So a lot of breath work. I'm consciously all the time, breathing, so I always just bring myself into every moment all the time. So breath work has been amazing. And essential oils are my jam. Yeah.
Oh, I love all of that. That's super
Thanks.
cool. Yeah, so I'm really interested to hear about how you got started in your business. What is this Love Yourself to Happiness business? I want to hear about it.
Right. So I think we should start in my 20s. I had a beautiful life from the outside, and for the most part, it felt really good on the inside. But I used to be in the city in New York, and I would go between New Jersey and New York, and I've lived in the city for some time, and I've lived a pretty good life there. Just pretty luxurious. Went to all the best parties, met a lot of awesome people, but then I would come home and I just felt depleted. And almost alone in a way. Thankfully, I always had the best girlfriends, and I have tons of amazing that I call my best friends from different categories, so I always had that foundation. but I would always like kind of like stray from myself. Like if you look at it from like a bigger picture, it's like I would be pretty destructive, you know, in many ways. But I always like went back to like taking care of myself. And then that's how I would just be in the flow. But it was like taking care of myself, like, and I would find like the best ways, like, you know, through nutrition, through yoga. But then I would just go out and like throw it all down the drain, you know? Yeah. So, but the desire of wanting to feel good just got stronger and stronger. So at 24, I became yoga certified, not to teach, but just for myself to learn. And I would just, you know, volunteer here and there and teach. But, you know, people would always come to me about like advice, you know, nutrition advice and this. And I stopped eating meat at 21. Mm-hmm. And so the way that began was I felt strongly about not eating meat, you know, and I was like, well, people shouldn't eat meat and this. And it was like, looking back, it was so like just one way of looking at things, right? And then I started eating fish. I haven't eaten meat yet, but just not for my body. But it took me to a path of like learning different dietary theories. So at 28, I found the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. Mm-hmm. And it just resonated with me so much about just having compassion for everyone and wherever they are. And, you know, what works for me might be like poison for you, you know? And it allowed me to take a step back and to not speak my thoughts as strongly, you know? And so it allowed me to be where I am comfortably and then just to accept everyone, you know, where they are. But so that led me so at 28, I got my certification to be a health coach. And I used that for myself for a while and not knowing where I was going to go with it. I became pregnant at 31 and I just, you know how people are nesting? Well, I was like nesting for business, you know? So I literally, within a month, I built my own website. I just became this like genius at like web design. And, you know, I self-taught myself all of these things. And still trying to figure out my message, but I made it pretty general and I called it Yoga Wellness Mom. And, you know, I was feeling my daughter and then even later looking at my daughter, I'm like, she gave me the purpose and the direction, you know, otherwise I wouldn't be a yoga wellness mom, you know? And so I created the blog and put myself out there as a coach and, you know, getting a little bit more comfortable with that. And then I would say, about 7 months into it, after my daughter was born, I met my business partner and amazing friend now, Maia. And it was through, I wanted to start a mastermind, and we got one, we built one. And then all of a sudden Maia and I were talking every day. And then like everybody else kind of fell off and we're like, we just have our own mastermind. And I kid you not, I flew to her with my daughter. She flew for the first time to Maine. Within a month, I was there. Wow. And we sat down and we just did our editorial calendar for like the next 6 months without knowing how, when, you know, like anything. And we have different schedules too. And we just sat down, we did it, and we stuck with it to this day. And it's just been a beautiful process. Like within 3 months, I mean, it was a lot of work. We created the 6-week online course to Love Yourself to Happiness. And that talks about, it just has 6 core values that we believe if you tune into, will transform your life to have more freedom, peace, happiness, and just overall well-being. So it's not about food. It's not about exercise. You know, I mean, those things are in there, but I think it's just such a bigger picture in wellness that, you know, people are too focused on like what they weigh on the scale and not tapping into like how they want to feel, you know, and what they want to create. And that transforms your energy. And, you know, forgiveness allows you to lose, you know, like I say, like, who do you need to forgive? Like, what are you holding on to? Like, for example, if you need to lose weight, I'm like, oh, you know, my father, my this, that. And I'm like, have you forgiven them? They're like, no. And I'm like, well, you're holding on to something that is not serve you, and you're just carrying it with you. And I kid you not, I mean, there's been like miracle transformations where within like 3 one-on-one sessions with me, they've lost like 17 pounds. And the things that they talked about in the first session are no longer even like, it's just like, no, that was like so 2 years ago. It feels like a lifetime ago for them, you know? So I'm just inspired by that work, and we're still in the beginning stages of it. And we got inspired to not just work one-on-one with our clients. We have teamed up to work like 2-on-1 with people, but as you know, so with the course, and then we're beginning our podcast is launching November 21st, and it's Love Yourself to Happiness. And because we want to reach more women, and it will almost be like coaching calls, you know, where women tap into and hear what they need to hear. I know I can tune in, and whoever I'm following, I could just hit play and I'm like, that's exactly what I needed to hear, you know? So that's what I, you know, hope to be for like the listeners or anybody just seeing our work. And it's just a joy to wake up. And we worked on our goals last Monday, or maybe 2 Mondays ago, something like that. And I make sure to make work pleasurable. So I'll have my coffee, I will light a candle, I make sure my space is clean, and I just show up, you know, and I allow myself to be like, sometimes channel. I say, we talk about downloading stuff all the time. Like, I know people download stuff on the phone. Like, I literally get downloaded information, and I'm like, I don't even know how I came up with it, but I'll take it. I'm not questioning it, you know? And so these goals came to us for like the whole next year. And it's like a book. It's, you know, relaunching the course 3 times, setting up a membership program. And Maia and I broke everything down into dates and how we're going to do it. And I have it printed up in my closet, and I look at it and I'm like, thank you. Like, I know what to do now. Like, thank you. You know, it's incredible. Like, sometimes I'll stray off doing things, but I'm still doing something on the list, you know, that maybe I needed to do that first in order to understand this a little bit better. So it's just, I have chills. This process has been amazing. And like I said, I'm not questioning it. I'm trusting it. And, you know, to be able to develop something like this within just a few months, I cannot wait to do our goals next year. Like, I'm like, you know, then I feel I'll be able to add different goals onto it, more personal stuff that I always wanted to. And maybe I won't want to anymore by then, you know, but like I'll tap into those because I love manifesting.
Wow. Yeah, that is like super impressive to hear all that you've done in what, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah. And being
Maia and May. So it's November now. So it's like 4 or 5 months. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know. And being a full-time mom, and I only get a sitter when I really need to. So like 2 days a week for maybe about 4 or 5 hours. That's it. And the rest of the time I'm with her. And it works. She gives me if I'm a little bit tired, she'll end up being tired. We'll take a nap, you know, and we just have this flow together. And I feel like she understands maybe because she's helped to create it, you know, and so she's like along with it, and can't wait to start traveling with her next year. And, you know, it's just amazing. I'm so grateful for her. She's like my number one. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So you obviously tapped into some serious flow and some serious, I don't know, like something inside of you. You do radiate, by the way. You're like, I know some of you are just listening via audio, but if you see the video version, Michaela is gorgeous. She's such a radiant mama, and that's why I wanted her to be on this podcast, because I want to know her secrets, and I want y'all to hear her secrets.
And I want to give them. That's the thing. I'm like, it's just amazing. Like, I've always, you know, even before this self-development journey started, I was always inspired by like powerful women. So I would read all different women though, like autobiographies, not just the Marilyn Monroe, but like Jane Fonda and Betty Grable, you know, like just all of these women. And I felt like I was like in like not hiding. I felt like I was like taking little by little like things that I needed from it, and I would like try test things out, and like it worked. Like there is that secret formula of, you know, being confident and sexy. To me, like I want to feel sexy, you know. And so I always ask clients, like, what are the term, like what words do you want to feel, you know? But like for me, it's like I want to feel sexy, powerful, strong, but sensual, you know, like I want that duality at the same time. And so I've always, those are my affirmations without even affirming them. You know, I feel like I've embedded them. And since, you know, since an early age, and it's, I used to do ballroom and Latin dances. I grew up in Europe. I should mention that I came here when I was 12 and spoke no English.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was just like, yeah, I lived a pretty extensive life, sometimes like many lifetimes, I feel, with it on. Yeah. And I went through a lot of, you know, stuff as a child, you know, some sexual abuse and things like that. So that did spark some thoughts, you know, of sexuality and not knowing. And it did take me in the wrong way, but I knew how to reroute constantly, you know, and I knew there was a better way to live, and to, you know, that's why forgiveness is huge for me. And it's okay for me to let go of the past because I'm in the present, and there's nothing harming in this present moment. I've cultivated and built this beautiful life that I get to show up every day, and it gets better and better, you know. Another one of my mantras, like every day in every way, you know, I get better and better, and life gets better and better. So, you know, so it's been fun to play around with that for me, you know? Yeah.
So what are your secrets? What are you doing for your self-care? What have you tapped into? Because we all want to know.
Yeah. So I tapped into the chakras. I met an amazing teacher. Her name is Star. I met her in Florida through a friend, and I went to visit her, and she had this workshop, and I thought I was just going to a yoga class, and I go in, and there's these beautiful like women, goddesses, and they're doing breath work. And within 20 minutes of us being there, she has us dancing in this like sexual way, into like almost like kundalini, you know, to like awaken the energy and the kundalini. And that day they worked on opening the root chakra. And I've read about it, and I'm aware of it, so I could work through it, but it was like such a deeper dive into the chakras. And I feel like I unblocked my root chakra, which is connected to like relationships, career, stability, things like that. And I, you know, again, from the outside, I had a really good life, but like, I just didn't feel all like pieced together on the inside, you know? Mm-hmm. So that allowed me to just get clear about my like desires, you know, like really clear. Yeah. And within 3 months, I was pregnant, not planned.
Oh, wow.
You know, and within a couple months after that, the idea of, you know, the website came. So like that whole year was just, I was pregnant with my baby and my new business that I manifested during this chakra course. It's like so deep. Wow. So I'm always aware of that. I always infuse my coaching with a little bit of chakra work. For example, if a, you know, woman needs to learn how to speak up for herself, we work on her throat chakra. Even if she has a thyroid issue, we work on her throat chakra, you know, like, so like there's organs and different characteristics of habits that are connected to our chakras. You know, and I could just say from an issue, if somebody has an issue, I'm like, oh, okay, so let's work on this, but then let's connect that with some action.
Right.
You know, and that tends to like literally like just speed things up, you know, because you're using a different force, which is there for you. So it's there for all of us. It's in us, you know? Yeah. So learning how to tap into that. And, I ended up doing some work with her with the goddess star. Like, she's just a goddess. Like, you see her, she has that long hair. Her story's incredible. She went from like a multi-millionaire woman to move to India for 5 years and studied with the best, very like eat, pray, love, and now she lives, in her studio, and she creates workshops and she dances. So she does this breathing where we all have the masculine and the feminine side, right? Mm-hmm. And so she breathes in both. Let me just show a little bit. So she breathes in both, like bringing up, like, okay, like up the legs. So she like connects it with breath. And when you're doing that, you're squeezing your perineum muscle, mm-hmm. and you're bringing that energy up. So I feel like I'm constantly doing that. It's almost like Kegels, if people aren't familiar with what that is. Mm-hmm. And so you're breathing in for 2. So squeezing up and then releasing as you're like thinking of your intention or affirmation, or, you're just focusing on the energy flow, when you're connecting to Mother Earth. And there's this whole process that comes with it. But that has been super grounding and healing, and I think that's what helps me with my flow in general in life, because I allow that to consciously flow through me. But other than, that spiritual practice, I would say I was always very vain is a wrong word, because I don't know what a good word for vain is, but I was pretty vain, so I became vegetarian because the skin's going to look great. You're going to feel great.
Oh, okay.
So it was like one of those reasons. And then I felt great. I felt so much lighter and clearer that I just like stuck with it. Mm-hmm. So I've always had an amazing, beautiful skin self-care practice, morning and night. In the last few years, I got into a lot of more natural products for my face, and I do a lot of oils, and I'm loving facial massages. I give myself facial massages. To me, it's like a sensual act almost, to like adore, like I love my face, and that's okay. And I tell myself, not saying like in like a bad way, but like, you're beautiful, but I feel beautiful when I do that. And when I do touch my skin, and I allow my like lymph nodes to flow and just connect with another different part of my body, not the spiritual, but the more physical, not on the outside, but on the inside. So I do that. I love sleep. I feel like sleep helps me lose weight. Sleep helps me like eat better. Sleep helps me like, I don't have to like exercise as much, but I don't get as long sleeps as I used to, but it somehow works out. So I think my body knew this, and it prepared me in this way, because I'm not energy depleted at all. Like, she woke me up 5 times, but I like love to hug her. You know what I mean? So I woke up to like, oh, come here. I co-sleep for like half of the night. I pick her up and like around 3 when she wakes up, and then she'll wake up a few times, and I'm like not annoyed. I'm like in the flow, because I know, I don't have to like wake up and do a job that I don't love.
Yeah.
And I know, oh my God, I know I can come and sit here with you, have some coffee, get to clean up a little bit, maybe make some lunch, pick her up, go see a girlfriend, maybe have a client call. And it's just, you get to wear like those multiple hats, but like, I love those hats. Like all of my hats, I love. And it wasn't always the case, and like I used to travel a lot in my 20s. I've traveled the world many times. I've been in Asia many times. One of my best friends, she's a founder of a charity that I became highly involved with. So we would go to Sri Lanka every year and help orphans and elephants. And so that was always my, we would go there, we wouldn't drink, we would just take care of ourselves. We would do yoga. And then we would come back to the city, and it was like the city life, So I always lived these like dual lives in a way. And I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I want to be like, but still hang out with cool people, So that took me a little while, to have daily conversations and not at night and then forget about the person, like what their name was, right, and talk about business at night and you're drunk, and and that's what I did for many, many years, hoping to meet the right person that will like introduce me to another right person, and like that was like such a wrong way of going about it, and it was just a cycle, but it's okay. I got to live my 20s. I got to travel. I got to, and most of those people I don't even talk to. I do talk to my best friends, but that's it, and now I'm meeting amazing, I didn't even know this was possible, and now I'm like living it. So now it's like, that's another exciting thing in my life, to be able to like even chat with you even prior to this, and to catch up on what's going on with business and how are you doing things. Maybe I can, do something different with mine. And like, it's just awesome, and it's fulfilling. So it's like, I don't feel like I need to go out and fill that void, because there's no void, it's constantly filled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for so many people, sometime in our 30s, I see it's like the 30 thing. I don't know. You stop looking to fill the void, and you start realizing, oh, well, maybe there isn't a void. Maybe I can fill it from the inside, because all these things that society has told us is going to make us happy, have the high life, social life, or whatever, go out and get drunk every night. It's just so freaking unfulfilling and draining. And it's like, dude, that's like the last thing I want to do these days, man.
Oh my God. Thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Going to a chakra dance on some secluded private beach in Mexico, butt naked, painted in a ton of glitter at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's like my idea of fucking awesome.
Oh my God. Can we do that?
Yes, let's do that.
Yes.
Do a retreat. Yes.
And that's another thing we're planning. We have one retreat planned for next year, which is going to be like a sample retreat for us, just to see, my friend has a beautiful horse farm here. So we're going to do it there. And then we're going to take it up a notch. God knows where, but it's going to be like all just women, just dancing, maybe I'll invite Star. Maybe like you'll come along. There's another woman we interviewed yesterday. We're like, you need to be on our retreat teaching. And it's like, we kind of like just want all the teachers to come somehow.
Oh my God. I'll teach Tantra and JDAG and sex, love, and relationships.
Yes!
Look at this. We're planning our retreat. This is the first we've even talked about it. It's so funny.
Oh, that feels incredible. And like, and we all have women that like little, few followers here and there. Let's gather all of them up and just take over an island.
Right? Oh God. Fuck yes.
Yes. So,
okay. Yes. We'll save that for later.
See, it just comes to us. I'm not even worried about getting workflow, it just comes.
Yeah.
That's life.
So how do you incorporate pleasure into your life and your self-care routine? Because this is the Multi-Orgasmic Mama podcast. We want to know about pleasure. We want to know what's going on. And you're single, so
I am single. So me personally, I find pleasure everywhere. It could be from having my tea. It could be from, using my oils. But yes, I'm single, and I've been single since I was 6 months pregnant. And it's weird because prior to that, I looked at sex as different, like it was just different. And after I had my daughter, I don't know. I just honor my body a lot more. And I'm comfortable saying that I didn't honor my body for a long time. And I'm not blaming it on anything. It's just, that's what it was. And so I know like my next relationship, I know I will have one. I don't know when, and I'm okay with that because I'm so busy with like having fun, but like, we'll just like, I want like soulful sex. You know what I mean? Like that's one of my top priorities. It's like, I don't just want sex, So anyway, but like tapping into my sexuality is I do, the breath work, which turns me on,
Yep.
So, almost like doing the Kegels, but, squeezing that muscle there as I do breath work, and I could just like tingle all over it. You know what I mean? Like it's incredible. So just finding different ways and tools to do that. I have yet to try the jade egg, and I'm sure by talking to you or like listening to you, I will somehow get on board with that, which I'm okay with. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'll put that on my goals or my task to-do list in my closet. But you know, like even like I said, the facial massage, I give myself massages all the time. I massage my feet. Like I treat myself like really good.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm in touch with myself and my senses. And you know, even the dry brushing that I do is like to awaken my cells and to feel my knees, to feel my feet, to feel my ankles, like all of that. Like I just love it. I love this body, you know. And yeah, I do like breast massage, you know, I do that. But yeah, so like just touch for myself all over in different ways for different reasons is all just in one thing that I've always done. Yeah.
I love that. So I want to go back and point out what you're talking about with breath work.
Yeah.
Because that's a super important thing that for all of you listening. So there is self-pleasure / masturbation, whatever you want to call it. And then there's this self-pleasure. And when you mix self-pleasure with meditation and breath work, it becomes a completely different thing. Like it's not at all what we were taught to think that self-pleasure and masturbation is. It's like
right.
It has a way of connecting you to the divine inside of you. It has a way of connecting you to sensation that you've never slowed down enough to actually feel. It has a way of opening up and relaxing your nervous system so that your cortical control is taken down, because the best sex happens when you're not thinking about it, right? So,
absolutely.
breath work is one of the essential pieces to a self-pleasure practice that if you're not doing, definitely incorporate that. And what that means is that the way that I've been taught and the way that I practice breath work is it's an inhale and exhale that's connected. So it's a connected breath in and out of the mouth.
Yeah.
And when you have that connected breath, it literally does take down the cortical control so that you can start to feel more than you've ever felt. So if you're a woman out there that's listening that has an issue with numbness or pain, doing breath work or staying in your head a lot, doing breath work as part of your self-pleasure practice is like one of incorporating breath into your practice is the number one way to begin to resensitize and to feel more. And when you describe, Michaela, how you're able to feel and, you know, just the touch of your hand on your body, it's obvious that if you're feeling pleasure from that, because not everyone would, because not everyone is that sensitive, that you have opened up enough to really experience a lot of sensation in your body. And I love that. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's, you know, I love to be scratched. And I've taught all of my ex-boyfriends to scratch me. So some would scratch me for hours, and I would make them and I would just like turn and, you know, like everywhere, my hands, my legs, my back, my butt, everything. And like, I don't know. I sometimes enjoy that more than sex because I was young and I wasn't like, you know, sure, like not sure, but it's just like, to me, that was like more enjoyable because it was like throughout my whole body and I got to relax and not think of what I have to do next. I got to just lay there and just feel. So even to this day, and I don't have a partner, but I make my sister, she doesn't scratch me everywhere like a but her and we will watch Netflix and we'll lay down, we'll sit there and we'll just, without even knowing how long we've been doing it, we scratch our hands, we scratch our legs, we massage our feet. And I just feel like, I don't care who's doing it to you, I just feel like a touch is so important. We all need to be touched every day.
Yeah.
You know? And so to me, like, I find it so beautiful. She's like, all right, can we scratch? Because she loves it too, you know? But like, we just like softly just scratch as we watch. And it's like, you're getting everything in, you know? Like I get to watch a show. I get to completely relax and unwind. and we'll do it for like an hour, you know, and it's just amazing.
Oh,
But yeah.
that's so awesome. You have a sister that'll scratch your back like that. I want one of those.
Oh my gosh, when I was younger, I said, I wish like some, you know, I'm like, people come up with like everything. I'm like, why can't somebody come up with like a robot that will scratch you the way a person could scratch you? Because I am just obsessed. I swear I could lay there for hours. And when my daughter wakes up at night, I scratch her to sleep.
Yeah. I
You
do
know,
that
it's
every night with my
gentle, you know, and and I want her to be sensitive to the touch as well. So, I mean, like I've done that forever, you know, since she was born all the time. I always make sure I have my hand on her or something like that. I always want her to feel connected, you know? So touch is huge, 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 huge. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So how has taking care of you first and prioritizing you, because that's like a general thing that we always hear, like you have to take care of you, but like myself included, I have a really hard time doing that because, you know, freaking 4 kids, y'all. So it's really hard to put yourself first when you have so many people that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
To some degree, you know, and just putting yourself first, you know, we hear that all the time, to take care of you first, but that is like not easy to practice. And it's not easy to prioritize yourself and to take care of yourself like a goddess should.
Right.
So I'm just wondering how that has affected you to help encourage other women listening that, you know, look, it is hard. I know. I struggle with this, but how has it affected you for the better?
Well, me personally, I don't believe it is hard. Maybe because I do have just one child, but I make it 100% a non-negotiable. So to me, it's just like a habit that I have formed that I do sometimes need to get reminded of. And that's why we created the Love Yourself to Happiness course. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we focus on things like morning routine and evening routine, scheduling, boundaries, financial freedom, relationships. And, you know, creating that allowed me to, to tap into like my needs in my life, you know? So we have worksheets where we break it down for ourselves, you know, and I could like, I don't have to look at it. I already know because I created it, I formed it, and I know what I need to do. So I know if like something is lacking, it's either it's in one of those areas, and it has nothing to do with what I ate or if I forgot to wash my face the night before, you know, it's like the bigger picture, and like that whole thing needs to work. So I also find that when I do focus on myself first, everything else gets done. Whether it's work, whether it's, you know, making sure my daughter is fed and, you know, dressed beautifully and she feels good, like all of that gets done. Like, and it's like more like graceful and effortless for me. So to me, you know, I think that words are very powerful. So if you do say it is hard to take care of myself because I have kids, or, you know, it could be hard to take care of yourself when you don't have kids, when you're working, you know, 9 to 5, 6, and you come home and you have to cook and clean, you know, and you're in a stressful relationship. Mm-hmm. And so you're not honoring your creativity at all, you know, like all of that. And that's hard to get out of. Yeah. But once you take that first step, it's just that one step. It's just taking that first painting class once a month, or doing yesterday, and I had a great day, but I was like, I need a dance break. I literally busted out a song on this, and in my kitchen by myself, I love hip circles. Hip circles get me in my body, and in that sexual, beautiful way, goddess body. Mm-hmm. And so I do hip circles, and then I'm like going like this, and I'm like, you know, I'm like all into circles because, you know, we love cycles and this and that, and I feel like, you know, to get in the flow. So, you have to be goofy. You have to try it. You have to try things. Even with self-pleasure, try different things. If you don't like it, and that's okay too, but then find different ways to find pleasure. To me, I find pleasure everywhere. I find pleasure actually like walking on grass because I know what it does, walking on grass. If my daughter's a little, it's like little parenting tips, I guess, here and there, but my daughter is, a little cranky. This actually worked. I was driving and I pulled over and I saw grass there and she just was nonstop crying. I pulled over, I took her out of the car seat and we just sat on the grass and I just watched her and she became so still. I picked her up, maybe not even a minute because people were like looking at us like, why are we sitting on the grass?
Oh my God. I love this story already.
Yeah. And like I picked her up and she became still, present. I don't know what was going on through her mind. Maybe seeing the cars going, maybe I was rushing her out of the babysitter, took her out of her flow. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I respected that. I gave her space to reconnect to herself and to Mother Earth. Because there's only so much I could do of like scratching her and talking to her. She doesn't want some of that sometimes,
Right.
She's like her own thing, her own human. So yeah, the grass is pleasurable, because to be in the flow and to be at peace is pleasurable. To not have stress is pleasurable.
Yeah.
So, and have the freedom is pleasurable. So I feel like self-care practices, not selfishly. I don't believe it's selfish. I think it's selfless if you don't take care of yourself. It is selfless. You're not giving anyone any service. You're not giving anyone service at work. You're not being that light that you are. You're not being an influence or a positive influence to any of your family members. Like that's the way I like to look at it. If somebody is off, I just show up in the best way I can and just, I know I'm shifting things. I'm like a little shifter, in that sense. And I just show up and I continue. I'm being this strong light, and you'd be surprised when you connect with that and when you make that your agreement, on top of other agreements we have, it just makes life so easy. And I say it's easy to take care of myself. It's easy to wake up whenever I want and to get things done. And I do have that little moment of like, oh my gosh, the clothes are everywhere, the dishes, and I just do one thing. And all of a sudden I look and everything is freaking done.
Yeah.
Everything is done. And I did it, but like, I'm like in a different flow. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say that again because this was so valuable and important. You said that it doesn't do anyone a service to not take care of you. That's basically just what you said. And I want you all to hear that because it's true. You are not doing anyone any service by not taking care of yourself. All you're doing is becoming a really better person by not taking care of yourself, because you're going to start resenting everyone that supposedly doesn't allow you the time to take care of yourself.
There you go.
Yep.
And I was going to say something towards that. Maybe it'll come to me. I don't want to like have a long pause. But yeah, it's all about just, you have to. I mean, if you don't, you are that miserable person and you don't even want to be around yourself. You don't want to be in your own energy field, And like I said, the next step, if you are in that space, just do one thing. Just even take a breath or listen to a podcast or smile, even if you don't mean it. And then your heart will connect with that and you will eventually mean it. Like, it's like the smallest, stupidest thing sometimes, but they change your world, and then you end up changing others. And then everyone else becomes so thankful and like so enjoyable to be around. Like I have boundaries. So like, I get to schedule my time around what I want to do. And that took time, it doesn't happen overnight, but learning to say no is huge, and saying yes to things that you've been saying no to because you didn't think you had time or you don't think you're worthy. You're like, oh, well, I'm so busy. Like, why should I take that dance class? Even though you're like a dancer in your mind, so like anything, there's just so many delicious, juicy things that you should be doing, not could be, should be, and using your words as a powerful tool to get you there, and just getting clear on the lifestyle you want and just taking that first step. Yeah. It is easy. Just say it's easy. And you'll be like, oh, it's easy. And then you'll just find that little channel that will take you there easily. Yeah.
Great advice.
Yes.
So now that we've heard how taking care of you affects you and makes you a better person for everyone, I'm curious to hear, how does prioritizing yourself, your needs, your pleasure affect your kids? Because
oh my God,
that's one thing that women get stuck on. We've been like taught from society, unconsciously, that in order to be a good mom, we have to sacrifice ourselves. We have to sacrifice who we are. We have to give until we have nothing left to give, until we just crash and burn. And obviously that's bullshit and it doesn't work. So I want to hear from you, how does that actually make your daughter a better person because of you taking care of yourself?
So my thought came back of what I was going to say earlier. Okay. I knew it would. And I was going to say that we are taught to believe the more busy we are, the more shit we have on our to-do list. And like, it's just the cycle that it's okay to live this life of like nonstop. And yes, in a way it is, but only if it's doing things that you love. Like, why otherwise live this life if you're doing completely the opposite and going in the wrong direction?
Yeah.
So, and it's always going back to that self, like what truly turns you on. That's simple. Like, what turns me on? And so anyway, so doing all of that, I think my daughter helps me to be more conscious of it. So she actually helps me to do that, because I look at her and I want to be the best example, but in a beautiful way where, if she sees me stretch, and do some yoga poses on the floor when she wants to play, and I'm playing with her a lot, like she'll know like, oh, like she has to take care of herself. Like, that's what I will have to do. And I want her to see these tools that I do, and I do everything in front of her. I do my, if she's like in the crib and she's watching a show and I'm like, I need to massage my face. Like, so like but I do it in the bedroom with her. So she sees and she's just looking at me, so I do that. I do all of these things. So then she knows what to do, and, kids mirror everything that we do. So I try to show her as much as I can and do things around her, even if it's taking time from like physically playing with her, I still feel like I'm being of service, because she's becoming a little bit more independent, but then she sees like what I'm doing and it's making me happy, like when I'm done and I do my thing, I can completely open up. I mean, I'm always open to her, but I completely open up and then I'm just present and I have nothing else to do but to be with her. So, and that's like the norm for us, we have breakfast every day together. If we have lunch, we have lunch together. And it's just, just to be connected. And I know she has that confidence in her because of that. And maybe it's just part of her personality. Maybe I'm just making it up that it's because of stuff that I do, but I like to believe it's a combination of both, because I need it. And, but I do make sure I take care of her first. So like, she's the first one to get dressed. She, wash her face, like all of that, make sure she has a snack. And then I put her in the crib. She watches her favorite shows. She could be watching, Baby Einstein, and she's in a beautiful room. And then I'll shower really quick, get myself ready. And then we both show up beautifully, like wherever we go, so that's my morning routine. That's my flow, Sometimes it's a little bit rushed, and that's okay because we have things to do, and that's part of our, life that we just have to, no matter what, you have to work, but I wake up and I say, I'm so grateful to be doing work like this, and to hang out with the people that I want to hang out with and talk and just continue getting that flow through me, you know, in a beautiful way. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So when you show up taking care of yourself, you're teaching your kids that that's valuable and important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's so beautiful because we need more young girls, young women being raised knowing how important that is. So when I have boys, I have a 17-year-old stepdaughter, but the two that I birthed are 7 and 9. And when they were little, I was single for about a year and a half. And I always wondered, how am I going to teach them to honor me? And then I realized, I started honoring myself more, and then it became easier. But I also had somebody had told me, like, we'll have them help take care of you. Like, you go draw them a bath. We say draw them a bath. I'm sorry, I don't know who else says that. But
Yeah.
so, like, you do that for them every day. Like, teach them to do that for you. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea, actually.
I love that.
I used to have them, like, draw my bath and put the Epsom salt in there. And I used to have them, like, I let them paint my fingernails and, like, help take care of mama, and it's was so beautiful because, it was a great way to help teach them to take care of others too. Like, yes, I'm the mom and I'm ultimately going to take care of you, but I think it's important in that time to, learn that they can reciprocate that.
Yeah, that is incredible. And I can't wait to use that when Amia gets older. But I love that because they also will realize the value of, like that it does take work to to do a bath, and they'll realize all the stuff that you do for them, and it just forms that respect, when you have done the tough work or whatever, you have respect for the work. As we talked about, creating an online business, I have so much freaking respect for these women that put themselves out there and do all this work and get all these emails done. And they're just one person, even if they have assistants or whatever, it's still one person that gets it all done. Mm-hmm. And so for the kids, I think it's essential they learn how to do these things early on. Girls, boys, it doesn't matter. And my biggest goal with this, one of the biggest goals, is to know that if my daughter is out somewhere, for her to be strong enough to say, okay, like, I want vegetables, or I want to stretch a little bit, or like, let's take a breath over here because it feels good. And I want her to be that influence for others, so she's a constant reminder for me to do that. Even if, like, I don't feel like it, but I know it's good. So I'm like, let me just do it, So she's the reason why. Oh. And have that motivation. Have your kids or whatever, your partner is a motivation. Doesn't matter. Even if you have to fake it. Why do you have to take care of yourself? Well, my husband likes for me to look hot. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever works.
Whatever works.
Taking care of yourself is a step better than not taking care of yourself at all. So yes, I totally agree with that. Okay, last question.
Yes.
If you have one tip or one piece of advice for being a multi-orgasmic mama, what would it be?
Beautiful question. So I think it's trying new things, So like I said earlier, I haven't tried the jade egg. That's on my radar soon to try. It could be trying the tango dance class, that's, that you just seen advertised, to get into your sensuality. But it's just to get into we are all sensual, whether we dress up like it or not, and just knowing that and having that mindset is just so powerful. That's what gives you confidence and that's all inside of us, so maybe even like putting on beautiful lingerie underneath your jeans and a t-shirt, or, putting on red lipstick. I mean, red lipstick was huge for me in my 20s, and that, like, it gave me the confidence, and I had the platinum hair. So like, that was like my jam, and I could just sit back and enjoy, like, life is good. And I'm like, okay, I need to get back into the red lipstick thing. I do. So I was actually, like I said, going to do it today, and I'm just like, shit, I forgot. But anyway,
I'm in the hot pink stage right now.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's just like you're putting something on because it's all thoughts. It's, it just raises your vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, do it only if you're comfortable. Some women might not be comfortable wearing red lipstick, and that's okay. Do something that's like secretive, take yourself out on a date, go to the movies by yourself and like get yourself if you like wine. I mean, I'm not a drinker, but like I used to be like, oh, let's just get a glass of, like wine or whatever. And just like sit there by yourself and like, be like, how good is it to be me right now?
That's one of my favorite things to do, actually. On the rare occasion that I don't have any kids where they're at their other parents' house, that is like my number one go-to thing, is just to like go to a movie and if I want, get a glass of wine and just watch a movie by myself.
Yes.
Like the best thing ever.
Right? I wish you lived closer. We would do
it together.
We would have dates. And listen, and one thing I believe in is I don't have a partner at the moment, but I'm in love. I'm in love with everyone in my life. Mm-hmm. And they were saying like, well, you can't have your partner to be everything, right? But then you can't, but I look at people in my life and I make things romantic, so even for my mom, I'll make sure, sometimes I'll have dinner ready and we have, because, when you're in that romantic state, it's like, you feel good, you don't think about stuff that you need to do, and like things just come way easily if you do incorporate that into your life. So like, I like to look at, going out with my friends as dates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yes. You don't just have to go on a date with a guy. Like, that's just, to me, I'm like, and I'm building that more and more and more, that by the time I do meet my match, mm-hmm. he will be on that frequency too. And oh my God.
And one of the sexiest things to a man is when you have your own life and you live your life. Like, that's how people lose themselves in relationships and in motherhood, is when they stop dating their friends, their sisters, when they stop, when they stop just having a life, when they stop having their passion because they think they have to give it up for their man to accommodate him. Like, that is so not sexy. So like, it would not surprise me if you come across your match soon because you're doing those things, because you're living your own life. Like, that's when it all lines up, man, is like when you're just having fun with you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most sexy and attractive thing to men. And I remember when I was dating with two babies, like a baby and a toddler, like that was the most important thing for me, was to not get attached to someone that I met that I really liked, or, I was like, you know what? If it's meant to be, it's going to be, and I'm just going to have fun with me. I'm going to have fun with my friends. And lo and behold, I meet the man of my dreams. Like,
wow.
After 8-9 months of dating. So yeah, it was like, that's totally awesome.
I haven't I haven't put myself out there, or I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where it does just happen, but yeah, like I'm thinking like sometime next year I'll start to date, but I don't know what that's going to look like. So it might just be having fun with my girlfriends and having dates like that. And that's a lot more comfortable for me than the other way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I love the tip on try new things. Like if you're wondering what new things you could try, I love what we talked about earlier with incorporating breath into your self-pleasure practice.
Yes.
There are really 4 key things to really opening up your ability to become multi-orgasmic, and breath is the first to work with. So breath, focus, movement, and sounding. All of those things are really, really important to open up your capacity for multiple orgasms. So yes.
Beautiful. And any tip with the jade egg, how to get started with that?
Oh yeah. The jade egg is a practice that I highly recommend you having a coach like me or a teacher to work with. If you have a local workshops in town, or you have a local jade egg teacher, definitely do that, because it's a very, very extensive practice. There's a lot of energy work that goes into a jade egg practice, a lot of actual physical pelvic floor, squeezing, releasing that goes on. And it's just not something you're going to learn by yourself or by reading a book. Like, I know you're a self-study person, I get it, but like you can't really get the full depth and breadth and amazing benefits of a jade egg practice if you don't work with a teacher.
Right. And you could also get discouraged if you're doing the wrong way. And if it's just there, you're like, you're just not doing it. It's not a magical thing.
Doing anything. Well, duh. Yeah. You're not doing the full things and getting the full benefits out of it because you just read a book and, so yeah, taking a class, Layla Martin, my teacher, she has an amazing, I think it's a 6 or 8 week online class, and it's
cool.
Affordable. So like, if you can't invest in one-on-one coaching with someone because it's a little more expensive, doing a course, she has a Jade Pleasure course. That's a great start.
Awesome. That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's like $350 for the course. So yeah.
Nice. And I'm sure that, working through that, it'll bring even more creativity, tapping into the source.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on. I love everything we talked about. I think it's super valuable.
I know. Thank you.
Conversations for everyone to hear.
So grateful for you and your time and you doing this work for women, which I think is so important and one of the key self-care practices that should be looked at. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Michaela. Okay, bye.
Bye.